I'm seeing a lot of people talking about how the Giants are going to be a pretty mediocre team, but that their defense is going to be really good. But honestly, I just don't see it. I'm not sure that their defense will be top 20 in the league, let alone top 10. Let me explain why. The Giants last year, which I'd start off with last year first for an example, but they allowed 352 first downs and more than a total of 6,000 yards. Also, 3,900 yards passing, and this year they lost key safety in Xavier McKinney, which won't help that. They allowed 45 total touchdowns last year, too. Combining these stats, they averaged as the ninth worst in the league. Now, looking ahead of this year, they did make some solid additions. They added Jalen Mills, who can definitely play at a solid level as safety, but nowhere close to Xavier McKinney. They did draft safety Tyler Nubin, who has upside for sure, but I don't see him filling McKinney's hole yet. They also lost Adoree Jackson, then Ashawn Robinson, and Jahan Ward, who are both D linemen who were pretty solid for them. They also brought back Isaiah Simmons, who can hopefully put it all back together this year. I mean, even though they brought those key guys back, the unit as a whole wasn't great last year. And now, the additions they made is probably why people are so high on them, but one in particular. They traded for Brian Burns, who's coming off a slight down year, but he's still good nonetheless. But honestly, that's all they really added to this team. They made a couple draft picks, but not many that'll help their defense quite yet. But with how weak the defense was last year, it does make sense that they didn't opt to spend a lot of money to keep those players. They could be trying to make additions just by subtraction, but I don't think the defense is going to be very good. I mean, they'll be alright maybe. They'll probably finish around the 22nd to 24th ranked defense, but nowhere better than that. And it's more likely that they're worse than better than that mark. And I have to be honest and say this before knocking on their team again. The biggest positive of their defense has to be the linebacker core. I'll give them credit where credit's due. They have potentially a top 10 linebacker core. We've gone over him already, but most notable Brian Burns and Isaiah Simmons. They do also have youngsters like Kayvon Thibodeaux, who had 11.5 sacks last year, and also Azeez Ojulari, who could step it up as a second-round pick 3 years ago, and in a contract year. He missed some games last year and only had a few sacks, but he did have 8 in his rookie year. Back to saying why I'm low on them, though. Their D-line is pretty bad outside of Dexter Lawrence. Their two projected ends right now have a career combined 4.5 sacks, coming from Rakeem Nunez Roaches and DJ Davidson. Jordan Phillips could also start, but he's been a career journeyman and was a one-hit wonder of the Bills with 9 sacks in 2019. And on to the secondary. Once again, we already went over them some, losing key safety Xavier McKinney and also Adoree Jackson. But their best corner right now is probably Trey Herndon. I could see rookie Drew Phillips stepping up and being a key contributor, but their only solidified corner is Herndon. I think Deonte Banks will be good though, who was a solid rookie last year and was picked 24 and 23. But that's only really one good corner, an all-right corner, and a rookie that could maybe step up. I think people are just excited about this team's linebacker core, but for me, I'm out on the New York Giants.